Hello everyone, I'm Teacher Liz. Welcome to the class of today, teaching ESL or EFL in the area of listening and speaking analysis. First of all, we need to know what ESL and EFL mean. What is ESL? It's the abbreviation for English as a Second Language. This refers to learners who are studying English in a country where English is the dominant or official language. Some examples are like USA, Canada, the UK, etc. For example, a Spanish-speaking student learning English in New York. We continue with what is EFL. EFL is the abbreviation for English as a Foreign Language. This refers to learners who are studying English in a country where English is not the primary language. Examples like Japan, Brazil, or Turkey. An example is a student in Japan learning English in school. Some questions we have when teaching ESL or EFL learners in the areas of listening and speaking are: why does tracking the EFL learners' progress help the learning progress? Progress monitoring is essential. To formative assessment, it is explained that when students see tangible signs of improvement, whether through test scores, portfolios, or self-assessment checklists, it increases motivation and self-regulation. It also provides teachers with valuable diagnostic information to adapt instructions. This monitoring progress encourages reflective learning and helps students become aware of their strengths and areas for improvement. So, what are the existing strategies to develop fluency in EFL and ESL learners? Well, fluency requires automaticity in language use. Some techniques are like 4-3-2 techniques, that is when students give the same task in decreasing time spans, improving speed and confidence. The second one is information gaps and puzzle tasks. This promotes meaningful and communicative use of language. Shadows. This one exposes students to natural partners of speech and vocabulary in context. These activities reduce anxiety and gradually train learners to speak fluidly without over-focusing or on accuracy. Extensive listening and reading. This one exposes students to natural patterns of speech and vocabulary in context. These activities reduce anxiety and gradually train learners to speak fluidly without over-focusing on accuracy. So then, what are the language errors when learning an L2? Errors are classified as follows: interlinguistic errors, intralinguistic errors, and developmental errors. What's mean each one? Well, interlinguistic errors are caused by transfer from the learning native language. The intralinguistic errors result from overgeneralization or incorrect rule application, and development errors are natural mistakes reflecting cognitive stage of language learner. Recognizing errors types help teachers differentiate between temporary misunderstanding and persistent issues that need target intervention. What are the correction procedures applied in learning on L2? Well, several correction techniques are described like reformulation, elicitation, metalinguistic feedback, and peer correction. What this means? Well, reformulation is when the teacher reformulates the error without overtly pointing it out. Elicitations, prompting the learning to self-correct. The metalinguistic feedback is when we offering clues about the nature of the error, like do we say God in English? The last one is for correction. It is when encouraging collaboration reflection. This feedback should match the focus of the activity. More explicit in accuracy task, more explicit in fluency task. Well, why does fostering dictation in English become crucial in the learning process? Well, dictation is not simply a mechanical listening activity. It integrates multiple language skills like listening, writing, grammar awareness, and memory. This distinction enhances phonemes, graphemes, correspondence, which is crucial for learners unfamiliar with English spelling convention. It trains learners' concentration and promotes bottom-up processing, especially useful for lower-level students. Moreover, variation like running dictation or dictoclass add an collaborative and communicative dimension, fostering both an accuracy and fluency in a meaningful context. What are the listening tests that enrich learners' English language skills? Well, several types of listening comprehension tests are described that also serve as teaching tools. These are four of them that are multiple choice and true-false tests, gap filling exercise, dictation, and note-taking, and task-based listening comprehension. Well, we continue with what is the effect of correction when speaking? Well, correction when done appropriately leads to fossilization prevention and improvement in accuracy. However, caution that excessive or poorly timed correction can increase learning anxiety, reduce willingness to communicate, and hinder fluency development. The key is to balance feedback with encouragement and focus on error partners rather than isolate mistakes. What is the difference between accuracy and fluency? Well, accuracy refers to correct the language use, like grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation, while fluency is the ability to speak or write smoothly and effortlessly. This insists that both are crucial, but accuracy builds the foundation and fluency enables real-world communication. Fluency activities are less constrained, whereas accuracy tasks are more structured and teacher-led. Clear example of successful activities for developing accuracy fluency in class. Well, we have role plays with pre-planned grammar goals. Some examples are like doctor-patient interaction, like using modal verbs. The story chains are when students take turns adding sentences using a specific tense. Timed debates that train both spontaneity and structure. And dictoclass is when text is read and reconstructed collaboratively. These combine forms and function, making grammar acquisition more dynamic and memorable. And as a novel teacher, can you list the pros and cons of teaching with listening activities and L2? Well, pros, we have good real-world comprehension skills, enhances pronunciation and intonation awareness, develop listening strategies like prediction and his extraction, and encourage exposure to multiple accents and speech speeds. In cons, we have can be overwhelming without scaffolding. Technological uses may disrupt flow. The assessment of listening is often subjective and hard to standardize. And teachers must be trained to select authentic, level appropriate materials. This pairing listening starts with pre-listening prediction during listening tasks and post-listening discussion to maximize engagement. Well, that's all for today's topic. I hope it helps you. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos. Bye bye!